Hey everyone, welcome back to our Today in Tarkov series, the TIT, as the chat so much loves to call it, or the comments section. We are going to cover what happened this week in Tarkov. Now, if you're not aware, most people are that have logged into the game, bosses are at 100% spawn rate. Now, this is simply a product of BSG, what it looks like doing kind of a makeup event from the fence item event. It's kind of hard to say exactly that's what it is, but it's kind of what it feels like. It was an event that happened on a Sunday morning US time. Very few people got to take part in it, and this is kind of the same thing, so it's back. Doesn't really matter. Point being, we have a new task, which you don't have to accept it. As soon as you log in, you have it. It's with Skier, and it's called Hint, and it's to kill all the bosses, including the goons, 5 raiders, 5 rogues, and then the priest, which this is Shrek or whatever you want to call it. He's the head guy. All the other cultists are Sextant, and then the top guy is called the Shrek. Anyways, the reward is some vectors and things, 0.15 with Skier, which is actually kind of a lot, and PvP. You unlock PvP to purchase. Now, let me go look that up real quick for you. I believe it was 701 rubles was going to be the actual the cost per round, and there's 150 reset. Give me a second here, and I will link search a mag so I can show it to you. It's the fastest way to do it, so I'm not typing stuff in and guessing. The link search for it, you come in here, you can look. Even if you don't have it unlocked, you can see it. PvP GZH, which is the old 7 and 31. You'll be able to buy 700 or 150 rounds for 700 rubles a round every reset with Skier once you complete the task. Now, what we've seen in the past is even if this event ends, this task will stay here. So I can't promise you that you need to hurry up and get this done. What I would do is try to get some of the harder ones done, like get the goon. If you only have a limited time to play this weekend, because I think that's all this is going to last. This is the weekend. Get Knight and Big Pipe and Bird Eye done, and maybe Killa, the harder bosses to get spawn rates and kill, as well as maybe the cultists, and then you can do the rest of these later on next week or whatever. This task should stay. This happened with the Sanitar event last wipe, where you had to kill Sanitar with one of every weapon. Even though they stopped the event, the task stayed, so you could still finish it, albeit much more difficultly. Now, as far as spawn locations, we'll go through these real quickly for those of you, so you guys know where the scat bosses can spawn, so you can find them or stay away from them, because that's where all the action is. For Reshala, this map is kind of right. There's some issues there. I'll point out the issues. So obviously you can spawn at dorms. They can either spawn on 2-story or 3-story. They can be outside, out back. They'll chase players. They'll do all sorts of weird stuff, so keep that in mind. They can also spawn at New Gas, Reshala and his guards, including up on the hill here, above like where there's power line, radio pole, whatever you want to call it, whatever you call it, it's a power pole, but they can be on this little hill where all these trees are. Usually when they spawn there, they walk towards gas though. So if you get one of the close spawns, you can run into them right away. Sturman, pretty straightforward and simple. He spawns in the sawmill. He'll spawn sometimes. I haven't seen it this white, but he has in the past. He can spawn kind of up in this area, up down over here, where that tent is. Not quite that far, but in the woods there, as well as up on top past the lumber mill. Now, I don't know if he does this still. He did in wipes past. I haven't seen him there this wipe, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's not there. Killa has a kind of an everywhere spawn. He can spawn pretty much everywhere on the first floor. Not everywhere, but most of the stores on the first floor. You can see here, if you go to the wiki, you can click on the map, you can see here for yourself where he's at. It's the main part of the mall, the front section to the middle of Goshen, all over in Idea in the front area. He doesn't really go into the back unless he chases somebody there. And then same thing with Ollie, kind of the whole front area of the mall. And then in the basement, he spawns underneath Idea and then underneath Ollie. Now, Killa does not spawn on streets 100%. I do not know if they turn the spawns off. I ran a couple of streets raids. I did not see the bosses there, but that doesn't mean they don't have their normal spawn rates. I'm not sure of that. The 100% spawn rate is only on interchange, and that applies to Gluhar as well. He isn't on streets 100%, but he is on reserve. Now for reserve, his spawn areas, he's got 4 technically. He can spawn over in the pawn or the schoolhouse. He's usually between one of these two buildings. Same thing with the knights, the motor pool area. He can spawn between either the white knight or black knight, front or back. He can be in that area. The K buildings, which are the train depot outside train area, he can spawn in the middle of those, and then underground in the bunkers underneath the Ks, he can be down there. So that's where you'll find Gluhar. Sanitar, and again, not on streets, just 100% on well, I don't know that he's not on streets, but he's not 100% on streets. Sanitar, he is he spawns at docks, which is where I ran into him the most. So anecdotal information, but take it for what it's worth. If you're trying to hunt him, I would check docks first. That seems to be where most people are running into him most frequently, though. You're running into him at cottages, though it sucks to fight him at cottages, or inside east or west wing, which he can even be an admin if they chase players or get pushed into that direction. So basically anywhere in resort, just be careful, especially if you're getting there kind of late. Sanitar can be in all of those places. Now the goons, I went to the wrong thing here. We'll see what if they show the spawns. As of right now, the only place I know that they're on is Lighthouse. I do not know if they're moving. I don't think they're going to, based on what they've done with the rest. They've only been on Lighthouse. Now, if they spawn the other places, if they move, just keep that in mind. They can do that. But on Lighthouse, you can find them at the Mountain Pass in Building 1, Building 2. Now, this doesn't show it, but I have many times, more than 5 times, I have run into the goons at the front of the water treatment plant as a PMC. So I don't know if they've chased somebody up there, if they ran up there. Not exactly sure why, but I have run into them at the front of the gate, so keep that in mind. For me, one of the easiest places to fight them is the chalet. I like fighting them here. It's there's a lot of doors and stuff you can kind of cheese them, which is kind of how you have to fight them, unfortunately. But that's where you're going to find the goons, is on Lighthouse. As far as cultists, another indicator here that BSG isn't putting them everywhere. They're only on woods 100% of the time. Now, as far as where they spawn, they're going to be the Sunken Village, which is on the far north side of the map, where the houses are all run down. You got the lake, the church, all that stuff. They'll be there, as well as around the Mark Circle area. Now, they have these 2 circles here. I have seen myself in Wipes Gone Past that the cultists will actually spawn kind of up here where it says cultists and then run down to the woods. General rule of thumb is anywhere in this general vicinity, you've got to worry about them. And they have extreme range. They're very difficult to fight. They're almost impossible to see on thermals. And they only spawn between, I'm going to go look here actually on the wiki to make sure, but I believe they only spawn between 2200 and 05. 2200 and 07. It says 7. I thought it was 5. Either way, 2200 and 07. They do not despawn. So if you start your raid at, like, let's say 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. and it gets to be daylight, the cultists will stay. They do not despawn. At least they haven't in the past. That stuff can always change. It can be subject to change, and they will spawn in. If you start a raid at 2150 and you get to 2200, they can then spawn in. Again, all of that is subject to change, so take it with a grain of salt. To be safe, if you want to be the safest, just make sure your raid starts in between those times to get your cultists if you want them. And then the last one, Tagilla, he just spawns on factory. He can spawn all over factory. Anywhere a scav can spawn, that's where Tagilla can spawn. Now, as far as the rest, raiders, labs, reserve, and rogues. Now, I thought these were 100% spawn rate. It doesn't look like they are anywhere. So you can hit the button on reserve and they might not spawn. And the basement, people have been running to D2 and they haven't been down there every raid, and they don't spawn with every button push. So you'll have to find a way to get your 5 raiders, either go to labs real quick or just keep persistent on reserve. The rogues, you just go to Lighthouse and shoot 5 of them. So that's pretty straightforward to get this task done. And that's the event. That's pretty much the event. But we do have a couple more things to talk about real quick. We'll go back up here a little bit. There was a big ban wave. They've banned. So they usually are doing these every other week. They were every week, then they went every other week. Now it looks like it's every month. So since May 5th, which is just shy of a month, they've banned 5,200 cheaters. You can go look on the link and Control F and look for names if you want to see them on there, but they are still banning. Another thing we got that is pretty unexpected, to be honest with you, was they gave us a spreadsheet with all the ammo characteristics. Now I'll put all these links down below so you guys don't have to look through Twitter if you don't want, but it has all the characteristics of ammo, basically the same stuff that's on the wiki or Tarkov ammo, No Food for Midnight site. Then you got Logic site, Tarkov changes. There's a lot of websites. Tarkov Ballistics, the one that I use, have a lot of the stat on there, but I looked through a couple of them. I didn't see any differences. It doesn't look like there's anything for here that we didn't have, but now it's straight from BSG, which is kind of cool. Plus, you can go back and look at some history, which was, I didn't expect to see that. They like to meme, as you can see, but there's lots of stuff in here if you're kind of a data-driven person. But that pretty much wraps it up. Appreciate you guys watching. Hope it was helpful. Hope you guys can get some of your scav boss kills done. I'm gonna keep trying to get my Sturman 20 kills for the Mjolnir. I can never say it. Maybe I did say it right. I just always think of that Thor meme, the Mew Mew. That's just what I call it because it's easier. Anyways, appreciate you guys. I'll quit rambling here. We'll see you out there in the raids. Wish you the best of luck.